The Cullen family. A very unique concept for vampires at the time, and a group of characters that, in my opinion, had a lot of wasted potential. Hello everyone and welcome to the Reulerverse. I'm Renee Rule, an author who does writing commentary and tells otherworldly stories. And today we're talking about Edward Cullen's family. These characters are a really strange phenomenon in the Twilight saga. Edward and Bella, the protagonists of the story, hardly had any depth, yet somehow this family did. In both the movies and the books, some of the best scenes in the entire franchise were almost always with the Cullens, and fans were hungry to know more about them. In this video, we're going to talk about why that is, discuss some of my favorite moments with these characters, and then talk about how this found family of vampires could have been utilized better. Let's get into it. When I first read and watched the Twilight saga, I was expecting all of the characters to be terrible. After all I saw for the franchise was hate for it online, making me believe there wouldn't be anything redeemable about it. However, when I watched and read about the Cullen family, I was pleasantly surprised. Each and every character had a distinct personality, a unique and fleshed out backstory, and small yet significant roles to play in the plot. It felt like the author took great care into giving these characters depth and thought deeply about how they'd appear on the page. Carlisle is an over 300-year-old vampire who has spent centuries perfecting medicine and using his immortal life to save people. He is deeply religious and always gives sage advice. Esme met her husband Carlisle when she was injured in 1911. He treated her broken leg. When they reconnected in 1921, Carlisle found her in an unfortunate situation. She hated her life and had decided to end it. He saved her and gave her a whole new life. Rosalie was born in 1915 to a wealthy family and engaged to be married to a banker. However, things were not as they seemed. One night, the man she was supposed to marry ganged up on her with his friends and hurt her greatly. I can't go into detail because it's definitely inappropriate for YouTube, but you guys can fill in the gaps there. Carlisle found her on the verge of her life's end and saved her. She initially resented him for doing this because she always wanted to have kids and her own family, but later came to appreciate it. In 1935, Emmett was hunting in the Smoky Mountains when he was attacked by a bear. Rosalie found him in the nick of time and carried him home to be rescued by Carlisle. He was turned and later married Rosalie. Jasper was a part of the Confederate Army in 1863 before being turned by a prominent vampire who needed his skills for her army. After aiding her for decades, Jasper grew tired of the constant violence and wanted a peaceful life. When he became a nomad, Alice found him. They fell in love, and he gladly joined the Cullen family. And finally, my favorite, Alice. Originally named Mary Alice Brandon, Alice was born in 1901 and had visions of the future for as long as she could remember. After her mother passed away, she had a vision that her father was responsible. She was later sent to a mental asylum because people thought she was crazy. There she underwent electroshock therapy, which led to memory loss. A vampire who worked at the asylum saved her and protected her from the tracker James, who was after her for her abilities. She later met the Cullen family and fit in like a glove. Her kind and bubbly personality is a light in their lives. See, those backstories are actually very good and very diverse. They are fantastic for supporting characters. It's very easy to get a feel of who each of them are. When I realized that the Cullen family was like this, one question popped into my mind. If these characters are so cool, then why the heck are Bella and Edward so bad? Usually when an author writes a book, it either has a bunch of great characters or a bunch of bad ones, with the protagonist being the benchmark for which direction the story will go. Good protagonists? It's likely the supporting characters are good too. Bad protagonists? The supporting characters likely didn't have much effort either. With Twilight though, this narrative is flipped. The protagonists aren't good, and everyone around them is pretty great, with the Cullens being standout fan favorites. It made me wonder why Stephanie Myers chose to focus on Bella and Edward as the main characters, as she had so many other ones that would have made better protagonists. There's even a division of fans who believed Alice was a better love interest for Bella because she was so kind to her and they had great chemistry. And am I in agreement? Absolutely, but only because Edward is terrible. Some of my favorite moments in the story were with the Cullens as well. I loved the airplane scene with Alice. Shame that was cut out in the movies, it was awesome. That was when Bella and Alice were going to rescue Edward in Rome, and they talked about turning. Bella asked if Alice could turn her, and Alice became completely terrified, stumbling over her words until finally she said she wasn't confident enough to do that without ending Bella's life. When Bella got pregnant with Edward's child, Rosalie had a huge arc where she was jealous of Bella because she always wanted a family. There was even a super cool conversation before the baby arc where Rosalie told Bella not to turn, that it wasn't worth it. Of course, Bella being Bella though, she obviously did not listen, but all of these things about Rosalie were very interesting. She had clear motivations and flaws, which again, surprising to see in a story like this. Not to mention every scene with Carlisle was pure cinema. I mean, a vampire doctor? That's a really cool concept. I'd gladly read a spin-off book about his adventures any day. You get it. These characters are great, and any of them would have been a better protagonist than Edward or Bella. Honestly, if Stephenie Meyers was able to write her protagonists like this, the Twilight series probably would have been really good. You know, assuming certain plot points did not happen. I wondered why she put so much effort into the Cullen family, but what seemed like so much less for her protagonists. This was a question that bothered me for a long time. I was very curious about it, watching video after video about Twilight on YouTube, but getting no answer. Then something someone said finally made me connect the dots. And I wish I could credit this YouTuber, but I for the life of me cannot remember who said this, so if you know someone who said this a while ago, let me know. But they mentioned that Bella is meant to be a self-insert character. She's basic because teenage girls who read the series are supposed to project themselves onto her and fall in love with Edward with her. It worked too. I cannot criticize that. Twilight is one of the best-selling books of our generation. I don't like it, but that is what happened. Knowing that, I got to thinking about Edward's role in this projection kind of story. I quickly realized that he is the same. His features are described as perfect, his personality charming, and his golden eyes irresistible. Edward is a self-insert too. He's not just meant for the girls to relate to, he's meant to be the perfect fantasy man. One who is devoted to the point of obsession, who makes you feel nice and special, because despite everything, he cannot get away from you. If he had super distinct character traits and flaws, that image would shatter. He wouldn't be everyone's type. Not everyone likes every personality. He wouldn't be a fantasy. He'd just be a man. It's a shame things were written that way, but that's the hard truth about Edward and Bella. That's all they were meant to be, a fantasy. They took the forefront and the Cullen family fell into the background. As a result, pretty much any story told with them would be better than Edward and Bella because they feel like actual people. But, you know, there's really no guarantee that that would actually sell. Unfortunately, people like generic things. Oh, that puts me in so much pain. At the very least, though, I just hope Stephenie Meyers writes a spin-off about the Cullens one day. I would buy that in a heartbeat. But for now, all I can say is that their potential was wasted, at least in the main series. And if you made it to the end of this video, you are now my favorite person. I'm glad you liked this little discussion. It's more casual than my other videos about Twilight, but at the point that I'm at with my YouTube journey, I cannot afford to make super big detailed videos every week. I am doing this by myself with a full-time job. So we're gonna get these casual little discussions sometimes. And of course, if you disagree with any of my takes, feel free to comment down below. I really don't care about discourse. Writing is subjective and everybody's opinion is valid. In the meantime, I hope I've inspired you, and I'll see you in the next video. If you liked this content, check out my other videos. I plan on covering vampire content regularly on this channel, so there is more to come. I'd also love it if you could subscribe. Bye guys!